Said that I spent time on Jeffrey Epstein's island. I didn't. I mean, he's a lightweight, this guy. He's a terrible, I think he's terrible. I thought he did a terrible job at the Grammys. I thought the whole Grammys was terrible. I watched part of it. It's not watchable. But he was a lousy host. I'd say not as bad as Jimmy Kimmel, but pretty.
He really can't stop himself. Donald Trump was asked about Trevor Noah hosting the Grammys, a totally different comedian at a totally different award show, and yet somehow Jimmy Kimmel's name still slipped out of his mouth. When Kimmel saw the clip later, his reaction said everything.
How did I get in there? I was at home last night minding my own business. Boy, I really got up his ass. I mean,
There's something oddly fascinating about watching the most powerful man in America unravel over a late-night comedian. Here in February 2026, we're watching Donald Trump spiral in real time because Jimmy Kimmel won't stop telling the truth. This isn't a celebrity beef. This is a sitting president with nuclear codes in the world's strongest military spending his nights rage posting on Truth Social about a comedian. And the reason is simple. Kimmel keeps touching the one nerve Trump is desperate to protect, Jeffrey Epstein.
the word Trump comes up 4,896 times when you search the Epstein files, which is interesting considering this testimony from FBI Director Kash Patel back in September of last year.
You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
You can characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times.
It's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Well, he was telling the truth. It isn't 100. It's 4,896, and we still have 3 million.
4,896 times. Not 40, not 400. Nearly 5,000 mentions of Donald Trump in the Epstein files released by the Department of Justice. So how did Trump respond to this avalanche of documentation? Did he explain himself? Did he address why his name appears more than almost anyone else's? Of course not. Instead, he did what he always does when cornered. He attacked the messenger, filed lawsuits, and tried to destroy Jimmy Kimmel's career. Then, Kimmel walked on stage, accepted his award, and delivered a speech that sent Trump into a multi-day meltdown.
Thank our president, Donald Jennifer Trump, without whom we would be going home empty-handed tonight. So thank you, Mr. President, for all the many ridiculous things you do each and every day. It's been a banner couple of weeks, and we can't wait to get back on the air tomorrow night to talk about them. Thank you, everyone.
Donald Jennifer Trump. That's how Kimmel addressed him on national television, in front of millions. The Jennifer wasn't random. It was a jab at one of Trump's visibly confused moments, where he mixed up names and details in a way that raised real questions. Kimmel wasn't just accepting an award, he was publicly humiliating the president, reminding everyone that despite all attempts to silence him, he was still standing, still winning, and still telling the truth. And he didn't stop there. He thanked Trump for providing endless material, for making comedy almost too easy. Then came the perfect punchline. How does someone Trump calls a failure keep winning awards? How does someone with low ratings keep being named the best in the business?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
This is where Trump's insecurity turns almost pathological. Faced with undeniable proof of Kimmel's success, Trump retreats into an alternate reality where Kimmel is failing and nothing is real. It's a lifelong pattern. When reality clashes with Trump's ego, reality must be wrong. But that awards speech was just the opening shot of 2026. What followed revealed the real source of Trump's panic. Elon Musk mentioned over 1,000 times. Howard Lutnick mentioned 138 times. And Trump? The files painted a picture he spent years trying to hide. He wasn't a distant acquaintance of Epstein. He was deeply embedded in that world.
And called him disgusting. He said Epstein was disgusting, which is hard to understand because this new batch of files shows that Lutnick was making plans to visit Epstein's island on December 23rd, 2012. 7 years later. Maybe he wanted to go to make sure Epstein was still disgusting? I don't know. I know Lutnick's name pops up 138 times. You can search these names on the DOJ website. You know, but before they let you in, you have to confirm that you're 18 years or older. For real, that's not a joke. And if you click no, they ask, are you cute? Well, that is a joke, but...
A normal politician might respond with a statement, a press conference, or at least a show of seriousness. Trump isn't normal. Instead, he deployed what experts call the flood the zone strategy, straight from Steve Bannon and Project 2025. When you can't defend yourself, overwhelm the system, create noise, exhaust the public, make everything chaotic so nothing stands out. And Trump chose lawsuits. Absurd, frivolous, politically motivated lawsuits designed to grab headlines and bury the Epstein story under sheer volume.
Planning to sue Trevor Noah now. He's also suing the government, our government, for $10 billion because a contractor who worked for the IRS leaked his tax returns. You know those tax returns every other president shows voluntarily? Well, they leaked them. They leaked his taxes and found that he only paid $750 in federal taxes in 2016 and 2017. And now, not only is he suing the government that he is currently running for $10 billion, he's also planning to figure out a settlement that he will pay himself. This is the first time a sitting president has sued his own executive branch, and it's also one of the nuttiest lawsuits ever. He's suing the IRS for $10 billion, 2/3 of their total annual budget, because his taxes were leaked while he was running the IRS.
Jimmy Kimmel sees right through it. On his show, he openly called out the pattern. Every time the Epstein files resurface, Trump suddenly has a new lawsuit or controversy. Kimmel pointed out that Trump claims to know every detail of his business empire, yet somehow has no idea how much money his family makes off the presidency. And it's the same move every time Epstein comes up. Deflect, attack, change the subject. Anything but answer the question. Which brings us to one of the most revealing moments of all, the Grammys incident.
President Dementia got back to the issues that matter most to the American people, which it was his review of the Grammy Awards last night and a joke host Trevor Noah made at his expense.
He said that I spent time on Jeffrey Epstein's island. I didn't. I mean, he's a lightweight, this guy. He's a terrible, I think he's terrible. I thought he did a terrible job at the Grammys. I thought the whole Grammys was terrible. I watched part of it. It's not watchable. But he was a lousy host. I'd say not as bad as Jimmy Kimmel, but pretty close.
On February 1st, Trevor Noah hosted the Grammy Awards and cracked a joke, like comedians do. Trump immediately lashed out on Truth Social, calling the show unwatchable and threatening to sue Noah. But here's the tell. Even while attacking Trevor Noah, Trump couldn't stop talking about Jimmy Kimmel. The host, whoever he may be, is almost as bad as Jimmy Kimmel. There it is. A different comedian, a different show, same obsession. Kimmel is living rent-free in Trump's head.
I was at home last night minding my own business. Boy, I really got up his ass. I mean, he posted about me last night. And let me tell you something. Donald Trump somehow has time to watch every award show and hates them all. He doesn't like any of them. No one I know watches more award shows.
That line sums up their entire dynamic. Trump commands immense power and unlimited resources. Kimmel tells jokes on television. And yet Trump can't go a week without mentioning him. He's tried to get Kimmel fired, he celebrated when the show was briefly suspended, he attacked ABC and threatened Disney. None of it worked. Kimmel is still on the air, still winning awards, still asking the questions any journalist should ask when thousands of pages about a notorious sex trafficker are released. Trump's response wasn't answers, it was personal attacks.
Time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare
justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead, CNN.
What would you say to
are
the
so
survivors
bad.
who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile
Well,
on your
I'm
face.
asking you about survivors.
You know why?
Jeffrey
You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
These are survivors.
Let's be clear about what happened next. A female journalist asked the president about accountability for sex trafficking survivors. His response was to criticize her facial expression and tell her to smile more. That's not just sexist, it's a textbook deflection. When confronted with Epstein, Trump attacks the person asking instead of the question itself. Kimmel summed it up perfectly on his show. We are now at the "women should smile more" stage of his presidency. The misogyny and the deflection are inseparable.
At the "women should smile more" stage of his presidency. I'm trying to think of a worse time to tell a woman to smile more than when that person is a reporter asking about the Epstein victim.
What makes this feud truly revealing is what it says about Trump's psychology. He's faced impeachments, indictments, and massive financial judgments, and yet what clearly bothers him most is a comedian mocking him on television. The Epstein files mention him nearly 5,000 times, but instead of addressing that, he obsesses over Jimmy Kimmel, Trevor Noah, and anyone else who brings it up. Every attempt to silence Kimmel only amplifies him. Trump calls him irrelevant. Kimmel wins awards. Trump calls him ratings challenged. Kimmel comes back bigger than ever.
Obviously, and a big story, a story that Donald Trump would prefer just goes away, but it won't just go away. It's salacious. It's the kind of story that makes headlines, and he knows that. So what he does is he bombards us with a dozen other crazy things to try to flood the zone. There's only so much we can take in. So to distract us, right now, one of the things he's doing is suing everybody. Now, last night, I mentioned Trump is suing the IRS that he runs for $10 billion, and that he's planning to negotiate a settlement to that suit with himself, which is just, if any other president did, it would be the biggest story of their whole 4 years in office. For Trump, it doesn't even crack the top 5 this month. But
there's a deeper reason Trump fears Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel represents something Trump can't control, a public voice that refuses to be intimidated. In Trump's world, power is supposed to force obedience. Threats are supposed to work. Lawsuits are supposed to scare people silent. But Kimmel isn't afraid. Every threat becomes a joke. Every lawsuit becomes proof the jokes are landing. The Epstein flights, the Mar-a-Lago parties, the 4,896 mentions. Trump's carefully built narrative is collapsing in real time.
you've got the president's former personal attorney, who is now the guy in charge of the Epstein files, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who stopped by Fox News to make this unbelievable statement.
Is there any chance that any of these individuals who partied with Epstein and engaged in, relations with minors will be prosecuted? Any chance?
I'll never say no, and we will always investigate any evidence of misconduct. But as you know, it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein.
That's right. It's also not a crime to borrow a bottle of baby oil from Diddy. They're not crimes. Stop being such a buzzkill, everybody. Our forefathers had to fight for our right to party with Mr. Epstein.
That's why he's flooding the zone with lawsuits. That's why he attacks anyone who mentions Epstein. That's why he told Caitlin Collins to smile instead of answering her question. And that's why he can't stop talking about Jimmy Kimmel, even when responding to someone else entirely. Trump is genuinely spooked, and Jimmy Kimmel knows it. Every joke lands because Trump reacts. Living rent-free in the president's head is the ultimate validation for a political comedian. As long as Kimmel keeps telling the truth, Trump will keep spiraling. That's not just comedy, that's public service.